Okay, welcome to this new course, An Introduction to Design. Now, this is a bit of an experiment for me. I used to design, so I had my own little design agency, and I did like print design for a couple of years. So I do know the principles behind it. However, most of my channel so far has been about coding, about technology and software engineering. So this one is a little bit of a change, and the reason that I'm doing it is because one of you asked about resources for learning graphic design, and I couldn't find any. I searched high and low, and the only thing that I could find was something from a college that was about a year's duration, and it cost a lot of money. So because I wanted to democratize this, I wanted everybody to have access to at least give them a taster so they can get started with this kind of thing. I wanted to provide you this course, but I need it to be worth my while. I need you to subscribe to this channel and like this video if you want more of these. Okay, so please don't forget to do this. I want to see that this is something that people are going to really benefit from and be useful, and then I'll make more of them. Okay, so please do that, like, subscribe, and do all the rest of it, and tell me that you want more. All right, so this lesson is around this subject. What is design? Now, design is everywhere. Why can't I go to slide 2? There we are. Design is everywhere. Everywhere. And the more you notice it, and the more you're in this industry, the more you will never be left alone, because you will see exactly the work that countless people are putting into this thing called design every day. Advertising, posters, products, logos, everything is designed. Everything that we physically come into contact with. And if it's not designed, or if it's designed badly, people won't like it, and you'll put people off things. So design is very important in today's world. But what we're talking about is design, not art. Art is something different. Art is created for creative expression, because somebody wanted to create something for itself. That's art. It doesn't have a purpose, really. I guess it has a higher purpose in a way. Design, on the other hand, well, it can have a bit of a higher purpose, but its main purpose is to create and market a product. Okay, so it's because people in today's world want to buy things, want to have things, want to attend things, want to go to places, want to go to soccer games, want to go to cinemas, want to do different things, want to buy things from shops. And that is the purpose of design. It's art that serves a purpose. Okay? Hope that's clear. Design is everywhere around us, as I said, and a lot of things are, you'll see it just come up all the time when you start looking around. For instance, this, Apple. Apple is one of the most widely renowned for its design in the world, one of the companies that's most widely renowned for its design in the world. And they put a lot of work and effort into the typography, the colors, the layout. Everything about this is really well thought out. None of this design that you can see on the screen of this iPad is an accident. Everything is created with an intent. Even the full stops at the end of those 3 sentences. That's how much thinking goes into this stuff. So if you want to be obsessed for the rest of your life with advertising, go into design, because you will get obsessed with it, because it's very absorbing, and you naturally will be interested in other people's design work, because they will influence you and help you to create your own. This is also design. This is very abysmally bad design, but it's design. It's a choice. It's somebody has decided to use this abysmal font and put GIFs everywhere. So this is also a design. It's not the point that it looks good. In fact, some design is made to look bad, and its appeal or its attraction, or the people notice it because it is so badly designed. Like I don't think you're going to forget this for long. I'm going to have nightmares about it for a while. It's a design. Okay, so everything you do is a design, but the point is, we want good designs, don't we? We don't want this kind of stuff. We want to create something that's going to be appealing and people are going to enjoy looking at, and that's going to make them curious and interested in the subject at hand. I'll say no more about that. Let's move on. Design, as I said, is a choice. It's something that you do. And we're going to talk more about that later, but it has such a big influence, and you will think about it more and more. For instance, I aligned this perfectly in the center of this keynote presentation, and I made sure that it was fitted to a nice little square, or it looked like it does. It doesn't quite fit into a square, but it looks like it does, and that's another thing. There's lots of different little nuances with design that I hope that if you like and subscribe to this video, and you comment below and tell me that you want more, that we'll go into later. Design also has an impact. Just look at this. This is another badly designed sign because it's saying danger of death, and it's written in Comic Sans, which is a very laid back, chilled out, fun. People call it a fun font. I don't believe it's a fun font at all, but people call it a fun font. And it's saying it's dangerous. That's not serious at all, is it? It doesn't carry any weight. It doesn't really say this is a very serious thing. It's comical, really. Comic Sans is comical. Anyway, so it's pretty bad, and I wouldn't advise you to do that because it does have an impact though, and obviously you want people to take this message seriously, don't you? Very serious. Okay, so it does, whatever we do does have an impact on people. So let's go on to some terminology. I'm going to say there's 3 categories of design. I know I'm going to get like some people saying it's not the case and there's more, there's less or whatever, but I'm just going to break it down into these categories because I think this is the best way of looking at it. Okay, the first is graphic design. Things you physically see which have like posters, street signs, album covers, like, okay, there's not so many album covers now, but there used to be, newspaper ads, those kind of things that you will see in the physical world around you. Even like I've got a couple of pill boxes on the table next to me, they've got labels. That's graphic design. The box of my new iPhone, that's graphic design. The cover of my books on my shelf, graphic design. Printed stuff that's out there in the world. Interface design isn't limited to websites, isn't limited to the screen that you're now watching this video on. It includes EPOS. What's an EPOS? Electronic point of sale. So the kiosks, you go to Tesco or whatever and you buy something and you have to tap on a screen sometimes to key in how many bananas you've bought. That's an electronic point of sale system. So those things obviously have an element of design to them, and if they're designed badly, well, people might just end up walking out of the store without paying for stuff because they're so sick of it not working properly. Medical equipment. Now, that's very important, and that's why I put this statement at the bottom. You can kill people with this one, because if medical equipment is designed badly, then might you end up injecting somebody with too much of something that will kill them. It can be quite serious, that, can't it? And in fact, that is a very big concern of mine, is that I want people to grow up with design principles in mind, like and subscribe to this video, so that they can do things to improve the situation, because there are pretty awful designs out there in the world, lots of them. In-car display screens, they can kill people as well, can't they? Because they can be a distraction, or they can not work, not be intuitive. We'll go into that a bit more, so that people will get distracted and won't drive properly. And then there's user experience. Now, user experience is more data driven. It's not so much about the physicality or how something looks. It's about how something works. Okay, so they will usually track people through an application flow. So say you're doing your shopping online and you put things in the basket and then you check out and pay for it. Now people will look at that and say, lots of people are leaving without checking out and paying for their stuff. How can we get them to stick around or buy stuff or buy more stuff. That's kind of the user experience, and it can be quite satisfying because you can see that you've improved the situation for people and the company you're working for. It can be very interesting, that one, but it is less inclined to be to do with interface design. Sorry, Ben, I know you've said that's not, and its interface is UX, but I'm going to say it's not for the purposes of this course. All right, cool. Right, design. There's another aspect of design that I haven't touched on, and then I'm not going to spend a whole deal of time dealing with it, but I just want to mention it because it is important. Typography design. Typography design is so important. As I pointed out with that sign, Danger of Death, right? That Comic Sans font. It's terrible. But there's lots of nuance with typography. And there's some very, very interesting theory around it. Like just how these 3 different typefaces, there's a bit of an argument about what they're called. Okay, fonts it's a shorter word, so it was used in user interfaces, whereas typefaces is actually what it's called. And there's a lot of nuance about how they were used. Okay, so I've chosen to display here 3 different typefaces: Helvetica Neue, Avenir Next, and Jill Sans. And on the surface, when you first glance at it, you might think, oh, these are the same. Why has he written those 3 words exactly the same 9 times? But look closer. There's a lot of difference in there. See the dots on the eyes? This one's nice and round, and that one's just a little square. It's so interesting when you get into it and looking at these, just the way that these letters are formed. Like the G is exactly a mirror of the D, and it's actually you can tell this is all the same typeface, and there's certain delights and lovely little touches that are put into the different, like just see the W here is not quite as high as the H. It just seems to work. See, this is something obsessing. This is because I'm a designer at heart and I love this kind of stuff, and because it matters. Because look at this question mark here. Like this one in Helvetica Neue. This is a business question mark, right? But this is a bit more playful on Jill Sans, and it's got a little bit more character. But it's also good for smaller screens because of different characteristics that it's got. So it's interesting. There's lots of different interesting things about typography design that are just fascinating, and it's worth just stopping to notice what kind of typeface or font you like using, because it's just, yeah, it's very interesting. Anyway, I find it fascinating. I'm going to stop there because I'll rabbit on all night. Okay, now this is some terminology. We're gonna look more in depth about these, but we're not going to isolate them because it's very difficult to do so. I hope that we can at least delve into these things, in a sensible way. I'm still thinking about how we do that. So contrast is using differences to draw attention. You're showing things to be different. All right. Emphasis. So you create a focal point of the design. What is the emphasis on this slide? It is the title, isn't it? That is emphasized, and then each of these titles is emphasized, whereas the text below it is not, because I want you to look at those in some order. Right? So by this you're leading somebody through the page. Repetition and pattern, so grouping things so that people can see the relationships between them. Variety creates interests and draws people into your design. Oh, really? What's that? It looks similar, but it's not. So it's creating a little bit of nuance to it. Now, balance is very important. If something's not balanced, people notice. It doesn't look right to them. So balance is very important. Rhythm and movement, then that's great, isn't it? And I just love those 2 words because it just creates sense, even though it's a static piece of art. It's actually looks like there's some motion in there, and that can be very delightful. Proportion shows that things are in the right order. Again, emphasis on proportion, hard to separate those 2, but it just shows relationships between one thing and another. Like this typeface here at the bottom is set slightly smaller and with less weight than this one, so they're in proportion. It's not too small, it's not too big, at least I hope it's not. Harmony and unity connects everything together. Like this is harmonious. All these points together, I've aligned them carefully, and I've been spent a lot of time just getting it all right in a nice little grid, so that it looks harmonious and it looks like it's part of a unit together. All right, that's some terminology about design. Okay, so that's the more or less the end of the lesson. I just want to remind you what we've looked at. We've looked at the difference between art and design. Can you remember what that is? Art is for itself, is its purpose. Design is for a product, or to sell something, or to advertise something. Graphic design, what is that? As opposed to interface and UX design. If you don't remember that, rewind the video and take a closer look. And common design terminologies. Yes, there's some very interesting words that I hope we'll get a chance to delve into, but we won't unless you tell me that you like this video. Like and subscribe, please. Okay, here's some homework for the next lesson, which I hope will exist very soon. Start a collection. I want you to start collecting things that you like, design-wise. Do you like my slides? Put that in there. You don't have to, of course. So websites, print designs, take pictures of stuff. Just try to record where you've seen them. Make sure you can trace them again, because you don't want to lose this kind of stuff. But use, like, there's some mood boards out there. There's Trello or Pinterest. Right, you can stick stuff on there, or you can print it out and keep it in a folder. It doesn't matter, as long as you've got some kind of collection of design that inspires you and you can reference later, so that you can create something from it. All right, cool, that's it. I hope next time we can talk a little bit more about the history of graphic design. Do like and subscribe to this video, show me that you really want some more, and then I will make some. See you in the next one, I hope.